Ho, ho, ho! Time to believe in Santa. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin, I am a geek. You're watching Kevin the Geek and you're back for another day of my 12 Days of Christmas movie reviews. Today it is time to embrace our inner child as we go back and watch the 1995 classic, The Santa Claus. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. Do please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and click that notification bell so you know when all of my videos go live. As with all of my videos and all of my reviews, there are 10 categories. Each one gets a score out of 10 to give an overall score out of 100 to give my overall ranking. So let's get started with the story of the Santa Claus. So very much the story of the Santa Claus, I think, depends on when you watch it, because this is probably the first time I've watched this in quite a number of years. I would pretty much religiously watch this movie as a child. And there's a lot of stuff that I picked up on that I've never really picked up on before. So, of course, as a child, you just go, oh, a dad has become Santa Claus. And, oh, look at all the festivities and look at all the stuff around Santa. And, of course, you've got to believe in Santa. Whereas as an adult, you kind of focus a little bit more on the other side of things, of the mental health aspect of it, and the stigma about whether you should or should not believe in Santa, and encouraging children to use their imaginations, but make sure you don't let them go too far, so that they kind of let their imaginations run too far. And unfortunately, to the point that thinking that you're protecting the children from harm, sometimes you could, in theory, be doing them more harm than by just allowing them to express their imagination. But it's a really lovely story. You have a man, doesn't really believe in Santa, bit of an absent dad. He's trying for his kid, but he doesn't do a good job of it. And the relationship just isn't there. Scott accidentally kills Santa, which is a big deal. And through his child's encouragement, he basically puts on a suit and basically becomes Santa Claus. And the rest of the movie for him is about coming to terms with the fact that he is now Santa. He is going to have the weight, the beards, everything that goes along with being Santa, and he's going to lose every other aspect of his life behind. There are definitely some aspects that I kind of think maybe a little bit too far-fetched and a little bit too unbelievable, but overall it was a really nice, heartfelt, Christmassy story. It's something that you can just kind of sit and watch and have enjoyment with. So the story's going to get 7 out of 10. Now, when it comes to the setting of this movie, of course you do have quite a bit of it in the real world. And everything that's done there is reasonable, it's nice, it's functional, does the job. But I'll tell you where this movie stars. It stars in its depiction of the North Pole. And I think that the set designers and artists and everything like that have really gone to town and think, what does a child think that the North Pole is like? What do they think the workshop is like? Or what do they think that where Santa lives is like? And they've gone really hard in to put in every little intricate detail that they think they can. And the set just looks wonderful. Even the fact that you have the actual North Pole, it just looks beautiful. And as a child, I remember watching this movie thinking, my God, that's what it is. This is what I've pictured in my head all these years. Now I can actually visualize it. I can actually see it on my TV. They did an amazing job. So your setting's going to get 10 out of 10. Now the music in this piece is very, very festive all the way through. It's got some lovely instrumental music that's been created by the composer. And then they throw in a number of good old-fashioned Christmas songs as well. I try not to compare these to other movies that I've watched and I've done these reviews on. But considering that only yesterday I recorded my review for Home Alone, at the start of the movie, I couldn't help but feel that this movie, and considering it came out, maybe 5 years after Home Alone did, it felt like it was ripping off a lot of the music within it. And okay, to a certain extent, you've kind of got to be a little bit loose and goosey. If you're going to include Christmas tracks, a lot of them are probably going to still feel very, very familiar. But when you have Carol of the Bells, which is just an iconic one, which for me I associate with Home Alone, because I always thought it was written by John Williams for years. I didn't realise it was written by someone else, so I thought it was written for that movie. And then you have the other one, which I never remember the name of it, but it's I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas. But specifically the version that's like that one, which again I really associate with Home Alone, because it's the scene where Kevin is in the bathroom and he's combing his hair and everything, and of course he's singing it into the hairbrush, and right at the end, it's when he puts the aftershave and she's like, ah! So yeah, that just took a little bit of a shine away from it. So I should have just been watching it and going, yes, this is this is Christmassy music and it's designed to put me in the mood. But I was thinking, no, that's Home Alone's music. Which is a weird thing to do. But music overall, the music section was really good. But I think because that distracted me a little bit, I'm going to mark it down slightly and give the music 8 out of 10. Now, the Christmas message in this movie really is, I think, again, depending on who you look at, for children, it's very much believe in Santa, believe in magic, believe in fairy tales, and use your imagination. And if you use your imagination, you can create these wonderful things, and you shouldn't be kind of held hostage by the limitations of your mind. The message for the adults, I think, is very much do what's best for your children. Make sure that they're loved. If you can, have a loving, mother and father. And rekindle your youth at times, because we can all grow up and be old and grumpy and everything. Sometimes you just need to let go and have fun and be a bit of a kid again. So that's really the message of this movie. It wasn't a really strong message compared to some of the others, but it was a really good, nice kind of love your family kind of message. So the Christmas message is going to get 7 out of 10. Now, your Christmas cheer, on the other hand, that really slams it home. And all the way through, it is shoving Santa in your face and decorations. And like I said, particularly when you see the North Pole. And because it focuses so much on Christmas, I mean, the time where basically you see where Scott / Santa kind of goes from Christmas Day one year to Thanksgiving the next year, which is, I think, when he's supposed to get the boxes and everything, and he's supposed to then go back to the North Pole. That all takes a really short period of time, and it's basically the real start of the movie, the right end of the movie is all slap bang Christmas Eve, Christmas Day kind of time. Whereas the middle, which is only a really short bit, is that all that stuff in between. And I like that they didn't focus too much on that. There was nice subtle nods, but the main focus of it was about Christmas. And I was just showered in festive goodness. So 10 out of 10. Now your main character, Scott Calvin, Santa Claus, Tim Allen. He has a very distinctive voice, doesn't he? You know, it's hard these days to hear that voice and not think of Buzz Lightyear. But he does a reasonable job in what he does. I mean, there wasn't a huge amount that you could really do with the character. He was a little bit limited, a little bit restricted. He had some nice, comedy moments, and Tim Allen does a good job in those scenes that he does do. But overall, yeah, it was okay. It was solid. Nothing offensive, just a good performance. So the main character gets 6 out of 10. Now your supporting characters, your main 3/5, if you like. Of course, you've got Charlie. You've got Charlie's mum, Laura. You've got Neil, the stepdad, the doctor psychiatrist. And then from the other side, you've got Bernard and Judy. Judy a little bit less so. She's not really in it a huge amount. But the stuff that she does, for a child actor, I think she does really well. Especially as she's supposed to be a child actor, but also playing a elf who is at least minimum 1,200 years old, because that's how long it took to get the recipe right for the hot chocolate. But probably maybe more like 1,500 plus years. But yeah, she was surprisingly good, I think, for a child actor, because they can be very hit and miss. Bernard was very good in the very limited time that you really spent with him, but the stuff he did do was really good. Laura and Neil, two concerned parents. Again, I think they were a little bit restricted in what they could really do with it. And Judge Reinhold, who plays Neil, I always think back, and I love him in Beverly Hills Cop. Such a great character there. Here, maybe it was just the character. It was just, I felt he was a little bit wasted. And Laura was fine as the concerned mum, nothing special. And then Charlie, he's in this a lot. And I would say as a child actor, he wasn't maybe quite as good as the girl who played Judy was. Yeah, he was a bit whiny, but he was supposed to be sweet and endearing, so I'll give him the benefit of doubt. He's only a kid, So supporting characters, another 6 out of 10. Now the Grinch of the piece is really pretty much everyone who doesn't believe in Santa. They're the one who's trying to kill the spirit of Christmas, really. And you can take Scott himself into that. The parents, the teacher, the head teacher, the judge, really. They're all the kind of Grinches. And I think it was very believable with the way that they acted. I mean, if I had any child come up to me and say, I went to the North Pole last night and I went with my dad, and my dad is now the Santa Claus and he's going to go back next year and he's going to sit with all the elves and make all the toys and blah, 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 blah. I probably would react in a very similar way. I'd probably humour the child a little bit, but then I'd be saying to them, what have you kind of been feeding them? So I think it's kind of believable. But yeah, something just didn't quite feel right. But it was good in what they did, so 7 out of 10. Now you do have a lot of snow in this movie, but the biggest thing I felt compared to some of the other ones where we've seen the snow is this one definitely felt a bit more fake. There was definitely a few scenes where I thought that literally looks like a ball of polystyrene or just a big pile of something with a white cloth over it, And there's a lot of CGI snow as well, which didn't really look that great either. But you did have a lot of snow in the movie, so 8 out of 10. Finally, on to Christmas decorations, and like I said, because we're focusing so much on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and everything, there are tons of Christmas decorations used throughout the piece. All the decorations in the North Pole looked fantastic and really made you feel Christmassy watching it. My biggest thing that I really liked, the use of the tinsel to break Santa Claus out of jail. That was a really nice kind of creative use of decoration there as well. So I think I'm going to give the decorations 10 out of 10. And what does that mean for the final rankings? Well, the Santa Claus has scored 79 points out of 100. That means it is ranked as a B+ movie. So what does this do for the final rankings? Well, this means that the Santa Claus currently goes into second place on my rankings of Christmas movies. Was it a good movie? I would say, for the most part, yes. Were there flaws with the movie? Yes, there was. But I think for me, the fact that this kind of brought me back to my childhood and reminded me of the fun things about Christmas, that's what probably bumps this up. And because when I watch a Christmas movie, I think I'm not wanting to get into something really deep and dark and meaningful and everything. I can watch that any time of year. Christmas, I just want to have a nice, fun movie that I could sit there, with a cup of tea, mince pie, hot chocolate, whatever you want, and just watch it, But those are just my thoughts. What did you think? Please drop a comment down below. Remember, please do consider subscribing to the channel. I am so close to getting to 50 subscribers at the time of recording this video. Maybe by the time this is out, I will already be at 50 subscribers. But I would love to be able to do that by Christmas Day or by the end of the year, because the fact that I've started doing started doing my channel back in the end of August, and really everything has kind of blown up since the end, end to middle of November. It's just wonderful. And I love the fact that you guys are loving what you see. So do please continue watching. Remember to join me tomorrow for another movie review as part of my 12 Days of Christmas. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and Merry Christmas.